Hot damn, this episode of Chad Powers is a wild ride from start to finish, packed with tension, heart, and a screwball sense of mischief that's impossible to resist. If you thought last week's miraculous comeback to steal the starting quarterback role was drama enough, buckle up. Episode 4 throws us behind enemy lines the night before a monster away game, as Chad Powers' support system faces an impossible challenge and nearly blows everything apart. From the jump, the episode sets its tone with the pulsing, kind of hilarious juxtaposition of Andrew Lloyd Webber's Phantom of the Opera blasting through Chad's AirPods as he preps for the biggest night of his life. The Catfish have rolled into Knoxville, home of the mighty Vols, with Chad now the starter, the kid nobody saw coming. We get Coach Jake Hudson ribbing Chad about his relationship with Catfish Boy. Whiskers asking how they ended up requesting to bunk together. Chad's deadpan dodge cracks up the coach, who tries, awkwardly, to sound modern and accepting, but clearly just wants to know if his quarterback has his head in the game. This scene sets up the episode's theme, everyone's business is tangled together, yet nobody really knows each other's truths. But the engine for all the chaos, Chad's disguise is in jeopardy. That signature look, the prosthetic glue for his face, is gone. Someone left the cap off while prepping in the hotel room, and there's no adhesive left. Simple problem, right? Except Chad can't risk showing his real face. He's got to play incognito, keeping up the legend without the prosthetics failing on national television. So, when Russ and Danny realize the glue is done for, they hatch a reckless plan. Sneak out to a Spirit Halloween shop on the outskirts of Knoxville to find glue and save Chad's cover, for the sake of the game, the team, and maybe Russ's own fragile ego. Right away, the show amps up the stakes as Coach Dobbs wrangles the squad about curfew and the strict, almost comically crude rule about spreading cheeks. He's obsessed with discipline before the big game, threatening anyone caught out after bed checks with benching, no matter who they are. It's a warning our crew promptly ignores, slipping out in search of that magical sticky stuff. Their desperation becomes a race against time and against the rules. The suspense is real. Not only could Chad get booted if caught, but Russ and Danny risk everything, including Russ's shot at relevance after being relegated to a backup role himself. The hotel to store to hospital crawl is a comedy of errors veering into pure chaos. The Spirit Halloween mission is foiled when a local fan already beats them to the last bottle of glue. Russ tries his hand at sweet, talking the guy, only to get a story about honoring his late Vols, crazed dad while applying dog jowl makeup. Super Tennessee, super emotional, and the perfect local foil. But our boys have no time to be sentimental. Stealing the glue, they run smack into a group of hostile locals, leading to smashed windows, lost AirPods, and one very sticky prosthetic kit dumped in a trash can outside a raucous house party. And then, out of left field, a gun surfaces in Sasha's car, left over from her happy sweet 16. In the scramble for adhesive and AirPods, the guys bicker about whether packing heat makes them action heroes or just idiots. The loaded weapon becomes the episode's Chekhov's gun, both literally and symbolically, ratcheting up unease that pays off as Danny fumbles and fires the gun in pure panic while trespassing. Nobody's hurt, but you can feel the, oh, God, we're in serious trouble, vibes flowing fast. In the aftermath, with Danny injured, Russ and Danny hole up in the ER, losing precious time before curfew and the game. Their friendship unravels as tired, old wounds open up. Danny resents Russ's obsession with Chad, hurling accusations that he's lost himself, that nobody recognizes him without the costume, and that Russ made Chad starter by sabotage, not sportsmanship. Russ claps back, stung at being called a joke, and the two split. Russ to salvage their night, Danny bent out of shape and desperate. This emotional blowout drives home one of the show's core messages: the masks people wear aren't just physical. Everyone's insecure, struggling for some recognition in a world quick to throw shade and slow to dole out real love. For Russ, being Chad's friend and fixer is his last grasp at college football relevance. For Danny, tagging along is the only way to have his own shot. Their battle over glue is really a battle about who they are with and without Chad. Russ finally resurfaces at the hotel, barely beating the clock as curfew looms. He bumps into Ricky Hudson, yes, Coach Hudson's daughter, who recognizes Russ for his glory days at Oregon. Their brief, charged exchange hints at deeper connections and fresh starts. Ricky tells Russ, pointedly, that fighting with your dad is stupid and to say what's got to be said before it's too late. It's mini therapy, and you can see Russ starting to crack, if only a little. It's subtle storytelling, characters not just chasing football glory or escaping trouble, but working through real life pain. Meanwhile, bet checks become panic checks as Ricky, now running the show, hunts for strays. With prosthetic molds being cooked and glue stolen Aladdin style from the hospital, Danny's final sneaky coup. The boys just barely, make it back before getting caught. It's classic heist energy on a tiny college scale, a blend of slapstick, stress, and close calls. We see Chad, battered and exhausted, getting ready to play with his new starter look, Russ's last-minute handiwork. Everything comes down to the wire, and for a moment, the world almost falls apart thanks to a missing bottle of glue. The episode closes on the big game at Neyland Stadium. Chad starts for the Catfish, facing the noise and animosity of 100,000 fans. The broadcast highlights his crazy stat line, the local press swarms, and Coach Dobbs absorbs the news that one of his players' guns has been stolen, with a weirdly cheerful response that only adds to the absurdity. There's an emotional moment of recognition as Chad takes the field, a guy who, despite all the drama, may really be the real deal. Jerry, last week's starter, cracks a joke about being bumped to backup after Chad's meteoric rise, echoing the episode's theme, success and failure flip on a dime. The show closes with Chad being asked for his autograph, Coach and everyone else amazed by his weird, magnetic charm. One last line about exposure, being truly seen, underlines how vulnerable it is to not just play ball, but to play a part, to wear a mask, to be put on camera and judged. What's so powerful about this episode is the way it juggles high-stakes football pressure, personal rivalries, absurd screw-ups, and moments of real, etching emotion. It's not just about stealing glue and surviving a wild night. It's about friendship, insecurity, and what happens when you chase a dream without a real safety net. Bad stuff always happens to Russ, as Trisha says at the end. The question now, after this night of chaos and the first taste of real exposure, is whether Chad is next. Will the magic hold, or will the whole facade crack under pressure? The show leaves us hanging as Chad's story grows bigger and the walls get thinner. If you loved this breakdown, or have your own theories about Chad's true identity, Russ's next move, or what the hell Sasha is doing with that gun, Drop your comments below. Hit like if you want more recaps. Share this with anyone who enjoys a wild sports drama. And don't forget to subscribe for more weekly deep dives into Chad Powers. Catch you next time.